Hello everyone! Today I'm going to talk about time-based productivity. What does that mean? So, I'm not a very productive person. Many of you who have watched my videos know that I've made like 5, 6 videos about being productive and how I wasn't productive someday and I got mad at myself and I'm gonna be productive the next day and not productive the next day. Anyways, the key fact here is I'm not a very productive person, but it I can be. Kinda. So, in 10th grade, during quarantine, online school, I actually developed a very good system for myself. I, so one night, I was just talking with my parents, and then they were like, oh, you should play less video games. Oh my god, sorry for the notification sound. Hopefully you guys don't look at your phone. Anyways, um, they're like, oh, you should play less video games. It's not good for you. And I'm like, no, I like playing video games. It's fun. And then, they're like, oh, but you should like study for stuff and do your schoolwork and study for like physics stuff. And I'm like, oh, I like physics stuff too, but I can't be productive enough to study for them. But I also still want to play video games. And so we reached a problem, right? And whenever there's a conflict, whenever there's any sort of problem, what do you have to do? You have to resolve that conflict. Wow, that is such meaningful sentence. When there's a conflict, you have to resolve the conflict. So true. Anyways, so how did we resolve this conflict? Well, it was actually my mom's idea. She was like, okay, fine. You can play your video games, but you need to do some amount of physics first. After that, I don't care how many video games you play. You can play 2 hours, you can play 3 hours, you can play 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. As long as you finish some physics first, or some studying, or some whatever first, then you can play as much video games as you want. And so, thus started the 3 hour, or at that time it was 2 hour 15 minutes plus unlimited plan. I would do 2 hours 15 minutes of studying, or this didn't really include homework. This includes like just like studying for this physics competition, because I wanted to do well in this physics competition too, so I wanted to study for it too, right? And so this included that in that 2 hour 15 minutes, and once I was finished with those 2 hours 15 minutes, I could do whatever I want. I could play as much video games as I wanted. I could do whatever I wanted with my time, and it was a superb system. It works very well, I think, especially in like the first month or so. I was rather productive on all those days. I did like almost 3, because eventually it got ramped up to 3 after. Okay, so for like 1 or 2 months it was 2 hours 15, but then we ramped it up to 3, because we're like, oh, this is working well, so why not increase it, right? And at first I was objecting to it a bit, but as long as I could keep playing my infinite hours of Minecraft, I was happy. And so this continued, and it continued till like summer of 10th grade, when like I just stopped for some reason. And I don't really know why I stopped, because if I had continued this, it would have been such a good plan. It was working very well, although at times the work I was doing maybe wasn't the top-notch productivity, because the problem with ranking work by time is that you don't know how actually productive you are during that time. You could just be like sitting around. But the thing about having a hard limit on the time I needed is that I also promised myself that before that 3 hour limit, I would do nothing unproductive. I would not watch any YouTube at all. I would not I would not play Minecraft at all. I would not do anything unproductive. And like that worked very, very well. Like giving myself that hard limit of no YouTube, no Minecraft, no nothing until after finishing that work was extremely helpful for me. Like, I guess my brain just processed it. It's a necessity for you to finish these 2 and 3 hours first. And once you finish that 3 hours of work, you can do whatever you want. And that like really, really helped me for some reason. And I don't know why I stopped it. I guess it's like kind of hard to stop yourself, because at the time, although my mom and my parents weren't like monitoring me or anything, it was like such a good system for monitoring myself. And now looking back on it, I'm not sure why I stopped it. I know I repeated this multiple times in the video, but talking about it has made me realize how good of a system it was. And that's the exact reason why I wanted to talk about it, because I think it will be a good system. Now the problem is, I do not think that the external motivation from me making my videos is equal in magnitude to the motivation to play Minecraft. Because maybe it is, I'm not sure. I think I haven't done enough video editing to know whether or not, like, to realize the actual funness of video editing. And when I get into the groove of video editing, it is so fun, trust me. It's like my favorite thing to do. But like getting started on it is a bit difficult sometimes. And so maybe I should also put like a time. No, that's not a good idea, because video editing is like a hobby. I was thinking like maybe I should put a time requirement on daily video editing, but I don't think that's a good idea. Video editing should always be a hobby that I like to do, and I do like to do, so I'm not going to restrict it. But I think putting some time requirement for, let's say, my the work I have to do now is my college essays, right? If I put, let's say, a daily 3-hour or a 3-hour time limit on the essays I have to write, I have to work on them for at least 3 hours of productive work. And that just means before that I'm watching no YouTube, no nothing, no games, not even Clash Royale rounds on my phone, right? Only any spare time I have gets devoted to that, because after that I can do whatever I want. If I can maintain that, it will be extremely, extremely helpful for me. And the problem with trying to maintain that, especially like right now, is school. Because the problem is, back when it was virtual, I had all the time to myself. Oftentimes during class I would study for my physics stuff, and that would be counted my time, because we had so much like random, because teachers back then too were also a bit out of it sometimes, and they just gave us so many free periods, so I had so much free time to do work and stuff. But now in school, you want to talk to your friends, you want to socialize and stuff like that, and so it's extremely hard to force yourself to try and tack on time to that 3 hours that you have to do in a day. But I think if I set myself a hard limit, and if I can also talk to my parents about this and have them have some participation in motivating me to do it, I think it can work. And I think it would be an extraordinary system if I can maintain it well. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Talking it out like this was really helpful to me. And this is, okay, this is a bit of a tangent, but this is why like journaling and any form of talking to yourself and introspection through just writing is very useful. Because sometimes when you're thinking in your head, you don't sound out what exactly you're going to do, and you just have like very loosely collected thoughts. But for some people like me, just sounding stuff out or writing stuff out in a journal or talking about something in a video really just helps yourself process and realize some things that you haven't really verbalized or made yourself fully clearly realize. And so yeah, I think if my plan holds up, I need to decide on a time. Maybe I'll go with 3 hours. I think that's a good time. And if I hold up and I follow the time limit, because like I was actually, like, looking back on it, I was extremely, extremely productive. I like held up 3 hours for like almost every single day, and it was very, very like, yeah, I don't know how I did it. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, I think sometimes for a person like me, I'm very like, the reason why I don't like starting to do stuff is I don't see a suitable goal, especially for something like college essays. There's no word count. There's not enough, like, there's no, I guess, limit to how much you can edit. It's not like, oh, okay, I'll edit this much and then my essay will be good. It's always like, oh, you can always do better. You can always do better. But in this case, if you impose an artificial daily time limit, I think a good artificial daily time limit will not only provide you with quality time spent on your essays, but it will also like just help quantify the goal a bit more of making sure you just do 3 hours. Just focus for 3 hours. No matter if you're writing or not, just as long as you're focusing and trying to write for 3 hours each day, then you can do whatever you want after it. I think that sounds like a decent plan to myself. It's worked in the past. Well, okay, fine. There was one time it might have failed during the spring break. But I think it still had relatively good success. As long as I can focus my mind to it, and I think I can. As long as I can hold it up, and I have enough passion for video editing and playing Minecraft and stuff. And I think I do. I really want to. Like, I've been so itching to get started on this video. And I have, but I just want to work on it a lot more. If I force myself to put this barrier of college application essays in my way between myself and editing, then I think I can be motivated to stay focused. I can be motivated to do 3 hours each day, because that's the concrete goal, the concrete barrier I have set in my way. And so yeah, maybe, I don't know what you guys can take out of this video. Maybe this method will work for you. If you have some goal you want to achieve that's requires a lot of hard work. Maybe like, I don't know. I don't really have a good example for this. Let's say you want to like get better at an instrument or something. This is another good example. For example, you want to get better at the piano or something, right? But you also love playing Minecraft. Then what you can do is put an artificial, because piano is also very subjective. There's no like definite goal, like, oh, I will play this passage well. Well, what defines well, right? And so sometimes you can only put like a time requirement on it. And so you just be like, oh, if I play, I don't know, 1 hour of piano, then I will unlock, that's how I like thinking, unlock being able to watch YouTube or play Minecraft or do whatever you want to do, right? But the only thing I have to be careful of, and you have to be careful of if you're using this strategy, is to not dilly-dally. And that's what started happening as it went on. Like, I started counting reviewing for my AP tests as work. I started counting watching AP test videos as work. I started counting a lot of random stuff, like very, very suspect, borderline work as work. But like, in the end, any system I can formulate right now, I think will be much, much better than the current system I have, which is just like completely scattered all over the place. And if I want to do well in the system, I have to also make sure to somehow control my Discord usage, which is through the roof. I'm sorry if my talking is a bit weird today. My brother punched my teeth a few days ago, but it wasn't that severe. And I don't think I talked differently. That was a bit of a exaggeration, but he did punch me in the teeth. No teeth fell out. Okay. Anyways, I don't know if you guys can hear my voice, but I feel very motivated now, and hopefully, I can do this 3 hour plus infinite video editing plan that I hope to execute. It's worked in 10th grade. Hopefully it works 2 years later in 12th. It's more like 1.5 years, but whatever. Alright guys, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to see more productivity advice, which hopefully actually doesn't happen, because if I'm talking about being productive, that means I'm not being productive. So maybe you won't see that much productivity advice, but you will see much more life advice, guys, if you subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to my main channel, Shinakaru, join my Discord server, and I will see you guys after a hopefully productive day tomorrow. Goodbye.